Hello, welcome to T-Spec. I am Temitope. So we'll be using this fabric for this tutorial. This is 6 yards. So click on the like button, subscribe, and let's get started. So I'm going ahead to fold my fabric into two. And so I'll be using my client's gown length measurement. And that is 59 inches. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 59 inches. And then I'll mark it. Then I'll add 2 inches allowance. I'll mark that also. Then I'm also going to measure the 59 inches on the other side so as to get a straight line. And I'm also going to add the 2 inches allowance. Then I'll take my ruler and draw a straight line. And then I'm going to cut it. So I'll be using my client's hip measurement. My hip measurement is 46 divided by 4. That's 11.5. And so I'm going to add 10 inches to that. So that will give me 21.5. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark 21.5 on the fabric. I'm also going to mark it there. Then I'll be stopping at shoulder to hip measurement. Our shoulder to hip measurement is 30 inches. Then I'll come down by 4 inches. So that's making 34 inches. So that 34 inches point is where I'm going to stop the 21.5 marking. So that's where it stops. So I'm going to take my ruler and rule a straight line to that point, to the 34 inches point. So at that point, I'm going to go in by 5 inches. For the straight part, you can notice that the upper part is in the picture for the style. The upper part is bulgy, and so the lower part is straight. So after removing 5 inches, I'm left with 15.5 inches. So I'm just going to mark that straight down, and I'm going to make a straight line. Just doing that to ensure that the marking, the line is straight. So I'm just going to draw the straight line down. So that's the bulgy part. And then the remaining part is the straight part. So I'm going to make a curve from that point to the straight part. So I'm going to use my curve rule. You can also use your freehand, but I think it's better with the curve rule. So you just curve it from the 21 inches part to meet the 16.5 inches part. So you can see the way I'm placing the curve rule so as to join it. And so that's where the actual style comes in. So I'm just smoothing it with my chalk. And then I'm going to go ahead to cut it down. So I'll be marking out the neckline. So I'm using 3.5 by 4. 3.5 horizontally and 4 inches vertically. 4 inches down. So I'm going to use my free hand to curve it. You can as well use your curve rule. So I'm just going to use my curve rule too, just to make sure it's very accurate. And then I'll go ahead to cut it out. So I'll be using this front part to cut the back part. So I'm going to place it on the fabric that has been folded into two. So I'm going to place that. It's going to be the same thing. The front and the back will be the same. So if you've watched this video to this point and you are yet to subscribe, kindly click on the subscribe button and also like this video. That will actually encourage me. So the next thing, I'll be using this net and these bias for the fabric. So the net, to cut the front part, I'm going to be using the shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement is 16. I'll divide it by 2.5 inches. That's because I want it to cover the whole shoulder. Then I'll be using the underbust measurement 13.5, and I'll add 2 inches to it, making 15.5. So I'm going to connect that point from the shoulder point to the underbust point like a V. So you see the way I place my curve rule, then I'll just make that curve like a V, like that. And so I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. And after cutting it out, I'm going to place it under the Ankara. You see the way I'll do it now. So I'll place it under the Ankara like that, just to cut out the neck, because the net is going to be the facing for the front. So I'll just cut it out. So sometimes it's good to hold it with pin so that it will not shift. So then you can cut it with and it will be accurate. So I'll be placing the net on it like this. So this is how it's going to be. It's going to be the facing for the front. I'll be facing it outward. And also I'll be using these bias on it to make a V. So I'll place this like this. I'll cut that out. And then I'm going to place the second one on the other side. And then it will now drape from the center downward. Like that. So that's what it's going to look like. So I'll be cutting the facing for the back. I'll be using this piece. It's 9 inches by 9 inches. So I'll put it under the neck part of the back. I'll try to hold it down. So I'm just going to use a pin so as to hold it down. And I'm going to cut it. So that will be the facing for the back. Then I'll turn it to the other side and then trim some parts off to make the curve, that neck curve. You can see the way I'm doing it. So that's the facing for the back. So this is the net that will be used for the facing and the velvet bias. So the Ankara, the left side is facing up, and also the net, the left side is also facing up. So I'm going to place it on it like that, then sew it around, then turn it to the other side. I'm just going to pin it to hold it down so that it won't shift, and then sew the neck. So I'll go ahead to sew it and then bring it back. So I've sewn it, then I'm going to use my scissors to notch it round. Then I'm going to turn it to the other side. So now the front side will now be on the front side. That is the right side on the right side. So now that's how I'm going to use the net for the facing. Then I'm going to pin it down. I'm also going to pin the V part because I'm going to run a stitch round the V shape. So I'm pinning it down so that it will not shift and it will be very accurate. I'm going to run a stitch on it here like this. So I already run the stitch on the V part. I'm just going to trim off the excess on the shoulder. And then I'll be taking the velvet bias and placing it on the V part. So I'll just place this like this, just to trace down the V shape. Then I'll pin it down, just hold it in place because I have to run a stitch on it. So I already run a stitch on it on both sides because you can see the velvet is wide. So I run the stitch on both sides of the velvet. So I'm also going to place down that like that, but to locate the center, I'll have to fold the fabric into two, and then I'm going to press it down with an iron, so that will give me the center line. So I already pressed it down and the iron already indicates the center line, so the other bias will be very easy for me to place. So I'll just place it on it like that. So I'll stop at the center line and then come downward, just following that line that has already been indicated by the iron. So I'm trimming off the excess and then I'll just try to pin it down so that I can get an accurate sewing. So once you pin it down, your sewing will be very straight and it will be accurate. So after that, I'll just go ahead and sew it down on both sides, on the two edges. So I'll sew it there. Now this is the back. I want to do the back facing, so I'm going to place the right side facing the right side because I'll be turning the facing on the left. You know the front thing, I turn it to the front part, to the right side, so the back facing I'll be turning it to the wrong side. So I'll go ahead to pin it down and then sew the neck. Then after that, I'm also going to sew the tip, tape it down like that. Then I'll flip it to the other side and then use hemming gum to gum it to the fabric, to the left side of the fabric. So I already did that. So I'm going to join the front to the back now. You see the way I'm holding it? I hold the two pieces together, then turn it around like that. Then I'll pin it down. I'm using the back facing to turn it. So I'll just pin it down and sew it, close the shoulder, and I'll do the same thing to the left side, to the other side. So I've already done that. You can see I've closed it, and then the hemming at the back, I use hemming gum to glue it to the back so it can stay down and it will not be flying up. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark the clothes. So I'll be leaving 9 inches for the arm parts, and from that 9 inches I'll be marking 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I'll just mark it down the clothes and I'll follow the shape of the dress like that. So I use my ruler to rule it, and also the curve rule to rule the curvy part, and at the straight part, so I'm going to measure 1 inch and also use my curve rule or ruler, anyone that you find convenient, to make the curve. So but I would measure that straight part. I'm going to measure 15 inches from the down because I'm not going to close everything. I'm going to leave an opening there. So I'm going to measure 15 inches to leave the opening. Then I'm going at that 15 inches point, I'm going to mark 1 inch. So my sewing will stop there and I will leave the rest open. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew it. And after sewing, I'm going to fold that and that sleeve part in by 1 inch too. And I'm also going to do, and then the down part, so I'll fold it by 1 inch and I'll do the same to the other side. So this is the result of our dress. You can see the boubou style. This is the outcome of the style. So like this video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.